Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's session. My name is Olufolake Ayeyemi, or Flo for short. Um, I am the director and lead creative at My Fruitful Fingers, which is my company, and my company started in 2014. So at My Fruitful Fingers, we design and sew bespoke ladies wear and made to measure ladies wear for all ladies, baby, girls, and adults, but not for men. So only women. We also create unique handmade gifts and personal items with fabric. We run one-to-one sewing and creative sessions. And very recently, we started doing this virtually. We all know how this year has been, and thankfully, we have platforms like Zoom that help business people to still be able to do some business, which has been really, really exciting. It's been an adventure, but it's been good. Next slide. So before I go into why I started, I'll just give a bit of a background to my sewing journey. So I started sewing when I was about 11 or 12, I think. And I started from watching my mom sew curtains, pillowcases, and general things around the house. And I just really took to it. I would sit with her constantly, helping her to thread the needle and do the bobbing, and it just all started from there. And then she would let me try my hands on, the actual sewing and sewing the stitches. And I remember how I felt the first time I actually ran the sewing machine, and it was the old, very old one that had the winding. There was no pedal, and it was quite interesting, and I just really took to it from that age. And I remember during school holidays, very much unlike this time that we're in, where there's the internet, there's YouTube for the kids and games and all that. We didn't have all that, so that used to be my own toy at the time, and I would cut up my old clothes and make all sorts of things. It was quite interesting, and it's quite interesting for me also to see where this has kind of taken me. It's been a long journey. I mean, obviously, the sewing had to like take a back seat for a while, especially because of my education. Had to finish my secondary education, go to university, and all of that. Get married and started having children. So there was that gap that I didn't really do much of sewing, or I can't remember doing anything sewing related until I had my second daughter. And that was when the skill came back to me for so many reasons. The first reason why I started was to be more present at home. So this was a time where one of my daughters, we were trying to get her support and a diagnosis for special needs. And it was just, it just felt right for me to put her first and kind of stop work at the time. And thankfully, I had these skills, and I had been taking lessons. So I started taking lessons about 2012. So I had brushed up the skill over a period of 2 years. And then I thought I could make some money from doing this sewing and just leave because I was working very long hours at the time, and it wasn't just practical to carry on living that way, also having a child with special needs. And I mean, we all know how it is at the beginning of the special needs journey. It was a lot of confusion, a lot of uncertainty. So it just made sense. It was best for me to be more at home and present with the girls, especially the one with special needs. So that was my major reason for putting in my notice at work to then start this full time. And also I started because I wanted to be able to create my own stuff. So I've been, like I said earlier, I've always had this flair for sewing. So as I grew older and as this particular stage of my life, I really had some ideas that I wanted to bring to life, and I didn't know how to. That was what actually took me to the sewing lessons, because I did try on my own. I know that I couldn't, but then I went to a lovely lady called Leslie, and she did help me. She gave me a lot of confidence, and she made me feel like I was really good at it. So that really gave me the, the confidence to start out. And also the third thing is to find fulfillment. So yes, I was working before, but when you get to a point where you think there has to be more to me than this, like this can't be everything that I'm about. So I wanted to do something that was really, really me. So that again was one of the reasons why I went into sewing, and also to meet a need. So at that time, I know there are lots more, but I didn't know anybody else who was doing what I do, especially around here. I know that people would sometimes have to go all the way to London to have their dresses made and things like that at the time. So yeah, so that's one of the other reasons why I started. So over the years, in running a business, especially as a self-employed, and as the only person, as it were, that runs the business, I've had to rely on a lot of digital tools just so to make my life a little bit easier and to make it, less stressful to run the business at this point where I'm still the main person that runs the business. Definitely looking into the future where there'll be more people running it with me, but for now it's just me. So my favorite tool, and I put that at the top, is Canva, which is it comes as an app or as a program. You can use it on the internet as well, where you create social media content. So all the lovely graphic designs that you see on Instagram and Facebook, I think quite like a number of them were created with Canva. You can get it as an app, as I said, but you can also use it on the computer. And there are lots and lots of templates that you can, change it up a little bit, or you can do yours from scratch. So I find this really, really helpful for my business. Okay, so the next one is InShot. InShot is a video editing app. It's quite useful if you create videos. I don't know if it's the best one for YouTube. I don't do a lot of YouTube at the moment, but it's quite helpful for me to edit my videos. I do a lot of short videos, and I add on a lot of elements to it, like text, stickers. And if you can't find any stickers in their own library, you can download pictures and use it on their platform. It's quite easy and straightforward to use, and yeah, I like using that one. Then MailChimp. So this MailChimp is good for email marketing, and I find it really, because it helps me organize my emails, newsletters, and information that I send to my clients. It helps create like different groups of clients, so you decide what message goes to who. I find that really, really useful. Again, there are different options, other apps that do these things, so you can have a look as well on the internet. Etsy is a big one for me because I sell my handmade stuff on Etsy. It's an online platform where you can get handmade or vintage goods to buy. So that's quite good for my kind of business, because my items that I sell are handmade by myself. So that's been really, really good. And it helps do all the discounts if you want to do a discount, if you want to do anything that you want to do. Like, you don't need to do anything manual. There are lots of templates that you can use on there to customize your orders and the way it goes out to your clients. So Google Apps, the reason I put Google Apps, I know Google is very familiar to a lot of us, but many times we overlook, or maybe we're not aware of the apps that are available in Google. So there are lots of apps that can do things like surveys, like editing forms, Word, Excel kind of things on Google. Many times, I mean, it took me a while to realize how much you can do on the Google apps. There's a long list of them. Zoom, which is this one we're using, has been very useful for me, especially this year, because as I said earlier, I started running the classes online and I've been doing it on Zoom, and it has been a lifeline because, yeah, no physical contact. So this is the only way I can carry on teaching my students how to sew and do all sorts of things on Zoom, and it's been really good. Trello is a new one to me, but I thought I'll mention it because it's good for organizing and helping you plan ahead. A whiteboard with a lot of sticky notes on it, so you have all your things that you want to do all over it, and you have time scales and everything that you can incorporate into it. It's really, really nice, and you can kind of plan ahead over a period of time. Maybe you want to plan weekly or monthly, however it works best for you. Appointifix, I find this, especially at this time, I found it really useful. It's an app that helps me schedule my appointments with my clients. So once I put the appointments in, it sends the reminders to me, sends it to them. It just makes everything easy for me to, unlike before where I mean, Google Calendar is good, but I find that this one is a lot more organized for me personally, and it helps me, be on top of my appointments, and it also helps me not double book, because I've had a few times where I had overlapping appointments. So this is quite good. Again, there are lots of other options. Kajabi, so it's a platform that kind of incorporates all the apps, so you can do your email marketing, you can do your online courses. Everything is kind of incorporated, so like a big umbrella where you can organize all the things that help you run your business. So I'm really, really looking into this as a tool going forward with my business. Okay, so challenges. Fear and uncertainty is definitely a big one because especially when I started out, I started having the gifts, having the skill, but not knowing what to expect. So there's a lot of, oh, is this right? Is this wrong? Am I supposed to be doing this? Should I just go back to my job? I had all those kind of periods at the beginning of my journey of business. So yeah, finances was also it was also a big challenge at the beginning. I did have my tools because I was already doing the classes, so I had already bought some of my tools. I had a sewing machine, an overlocker, and some of my other tools. But I didn't have money to do. When you have like some big ideas that you need money to run it. Again, I didn't have business knowledge and clarity as well. I didn't really know what direction the business was going. I only knew that I wanted to make clothes for ladies, but that was it. No clear, vision of what was going to happen. I was confused about pricing. I didn't know how to set my prices, what formula or however, to go about that. Time management was a big issue. I found that I was spending so much time doing the work and so little was coming of it. So I didn't know how to plan my time. Marketing was another big challenge that I had. And thankfully, when things like Instagram and Facebook came along, I mean, Facebook has been here much longer, but yeah, those have been tools that have helped marketing. But at the beginning, it was quite difficult to tell people or to, put word out for myself, for the work that I do. And also loneliness. I mean, anyone that runs a business would know that it can be really, really lonely. Sometimes you want to talk to somebody, but you don't know who to talk to or who will understand what you're trying to say. So many times you just stomach everything and yeah, you just maybe find a way somehow, but loneliness definitely has been a big one. So the lessons I've learned over the few years of my business is that I'm not everyone's cup of tea. I think that one set me free from a lot because there was a time where I just wanted to please everyone. Like it felt like I was being pulled here and there. And again, like I said earlier, there was no clarity. So I was just going with, whatever anyone wanted. But when I realized that, first of all, I need to know that not everyone will understand what I'm doing or who gets me. It helped me to take a step back and think about, okay, so what is it that I actually want to do? And then from there, I then started to grow, in the business. And know, or have a clearer picture of what I was trying to achieve without too much external influence. It's nice to, listen to people and get advice and things like that, but it's also really good to have a clear plan and clear vision of what we want to achieve. I also learned to take a break, like I was saying earlier. I used to spend hours and hours, and it started telling on almost every area of my life. So I learned that, I have to create time off, the actual sewing or creating anything, and relax my head and, calm myself down. I also learned to celebrate my successes. At the beginning, it was a challenge to see, because whenever I made something, I would only see the flaws or what was not perfect. I didn't look at the good bits. So I learned to celebrate when things work right. And when things don't work exactly to plan, I learned also to see them as learning points for myself. Yeah, so this leads to the next one, which says perfection is the enemy of progress. Like, I was always looking for, oh, this is not perfect, and it really, really stunted my growth in a way, until I started seeing more of the success. And I'm just going to take a sip of water. Okay, right. So yeah, next one is learning to see failure. I think this also ties into what I said earlier about seeing, not seeing failure as, as overriding the good things, but seeing failure as, or failure or mistakes as a stepping stone. And also that my business is not just about money. Obviously, I want to make a lot of money, but more importantly, I would like to make a big impact on people's life, and that for me is very, very primary. And also, it's good to have big dreams, but it's also good to start small. So sometimes we look at the big picture and we forget the little steps that will take us to the big picture. And that was my story. But now I'm learning that the small steps are also as important as the big picture. Okay, so I'll run through this very quickly because I'm conscious of time. So my advice to anyone, especially if you're just starting out, starting a business, is to have a vision. Again, I've mentioned this previously. It's nice to have a plan, and it's not so much about the writing of a business plan. It's just knowing what you're trying to achieve, and that helps you keep track of what you're doing. It helps you like measure your progress in a way and know where maybe you're falling behind. And this can change from time to time. So as you grow and as your business evolves, your vision might change, your plan of action might change, but it's always nice to have something most likely documented, but even if it's in your mind that this is what I'm trying to achieve, so that when you're falling off or going off track, you would know how to bring yourself back on track. Be willing to try new things. That's always a good thing. Know how to motivate yourself. As a business person, it's sometimes really difficult. Down times, a lot of times. So you must have like your own made up strategy of getting yourself out of that rut, if you like, of not, sometimes when you don't just feel like doing anything or creating anything. Supporting other people's businesses, for me, this is really, it helps, especially when I'm feeling down, when I can't do anything on my own business. I find a way of supporting somebody else, and that way, that kind of gingers me and brings me back to life with my own business. Asking for help is really good. There's nothing as good as going to somebody that can help you and asking them to help, and be teachable, because it's one thing to ask, and it's another thing to actually listen. So once you find the right person, because not everybody can help you, but once you find the right person, be willing to learn, and be teachable. Start where you are. It's not always perfect at the beginning. You might even not know half of what you're meant to be doing, but take the first step. And as you take the first step, the other steps will be revealed. Trust the process. This is a phrase that we hear all the time, but it is quite true. there's a process. Rome was not built in a day, as they say. So let's just trust the process and just continue to follow the steps as they unfold on the business journey. This last one is very, very key for me, using my words wisely. Like many times, we say things that negate, and I believe that words are so powerful. We say things that negate what we're trying to achieve, and there's so much power in the words that we speak. So let's try and say things that, are in line with what we're trying to do, not the opposite. And that's it from me. Thank you very much.